Hey, welcome back or welcome if you're new to my channel. Today I am finally doing another ASMR video of a official strategy guide for the game World of Warcraft. I am going to show you today the Bradygames Dungeon Companion for Vanilla World of Warcraft. I am really excited about doing this video. This booklet or strategy guide is one that is bringing out the most nostalgia for me. Looking through the old dungeons from the first base game, it is giving me so much joy and happiness. It's almost hard for me to describe. I made a haul quite a while ago where I showed off this lovely strategy guide. I found it at a flea market for 50 Swedish kronor, which is like $5. It is in a bit of a rough shape. You can see the back side of the cover is almost falling apart, but for once there is no scent of smoke or water damage. It's just an old loved strategy guide. I really hope you enjoyed this video, because I know I am going to enjoy this so much. And for the future, I'm trying to get a hold of. There are 2 more strategy guides from Bradygames I have not gone over. It is the second Dungeon Companion for the Burning Crusade expansion, and there is a mastery guide, and I do have the vague memory of different beast guides, but I'm not quite sure. I might have to look that up. But I hope you sit back and relax, and let's go through this video together. Thank you. This cover is so incredible nostalgic for me. We are in Silithus, outside Ankiraj, and seeing the minions of Cthulhu, the old god. All the insects and insect-like creatures. So this is the Bradygames official strategy guide for World of Warcraft Dungeon Companion. Let's look a bit on the back side. You can see it's a bit broken, but I don't mind it, since this is from 2006 and I'm really happy to find this. Ragefire Chasm to Ankiraj. Every raid, every instance, every outdoor encounter. Expert strategy. We have compiled a crew of some of the most decorated players in the game. Their tried and successful tactics are sure to guide you through even the darkest pits of Azeroth. Every instance, maps, quest and strategy for every instance. Every raid, maps, quest and proven strategies for 20 and 40 man raids. outdoor boss encounters. Have you heard the legends of Azurgos and Lord Kazakh? Do the emerald dragons hold the riches you desperately crave? Discover exactly what you need to take them down. And we have complete coverage for maps, monster data, quest and rewards, drop list and secret rooms. This really feels like stepping into a portal of older times. Feels like we're going back in time together to 2006. Look at this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful artwork. At page 4 we have introductions to Rage. Page 6, how to use the dungeon companion. And then it's the different instance dungeons. Ankiraj, Black Fathom Deeps, Black Rock Depths, Black Rock Spire, Black Wing Lair, Dead Mines, Dire Mall, Nomragan, Moriton, Molten Core, Onyxia's Lair, Ragefire Chasm, Razorfen Downs, Razorfen Growl, Scarlet Monastery, Skolomans, Shadowfang Keep, the Stockades, Strattle, Temple of Akar, Uldaman, Wailing Caverns, Sulfarak, Sulkarub, and the outdoor encounters, Azurgos, Dragons of Nightmare, Lord Kazakh. Then there are 2 appendix set items and dungeon set 2 quests. Introduction to raiding. Almost every World of Warcraft player has joined groups during their journey to level 60. Once you reach 60, groups become less common and raids become more common. This guide is for people who are interested in raiding, but haven't done much of it or may not even be sure what exactly raiding means. Technically, a group becomes a raid when it's converted to a raid group through the raid tab on the social window. This allows for up to 40 people, divided into 8 teams of 5, to join your raid group. When you're a member of a raid, you can't complete most quests that aren't specified as raid quests. Many of the concepts you have learned in groups prior to raiding are used in raid groups. Generally, a good group member can be a great raid member without much trouble. Getting 40 people to work together is not an easy task for anyone. If you're going to be a raider, you always have to remember that there are 39 other people in the same group with you. Always be respectful, helpful and attentive. The raid leader is in charge, listen to them and ask questions when you need to. Then there's a lot of information about how to be a good raider, common terms and concepts, pre-raid checklist. A lot of information. How to use the dungeon companion. Some direction is required when using a resource of this size. All the dungeons, raids and outdoor encounters follow the same setup, and this section is designed to assist you in deciphering the sections and take full advantage of the information therein. Introduction and dungeon information. We have an example here, the information box. This box is an introduction to the dungeon or encounter. It often gives you some storyline about the place or target, but won't have actual data or statistics. And then there's the dungeon encounter information. These sections provide the location and general information for the area along with an overview of the dungeon and what to expect. Then we have maps, the Instaps map, for area map and legend. And the quest table. I feel like I'm most interested in the information box about the lore and maybe some of the encounter information about the different monsters or enemies. If we would go through everything, it would be way too long. Some about the quest boxes. These are broken into appropriate colors for Alliance, Horde and Share quest as well. If you're playing Alliance, take a counter at the blue boxes for quests that apply to you. However, don't ignore the shared quest brown listings. There are some of the enemies, general enemy table. And then the boss table. The names and levels of the bosses in the instance are listed alphabetically for convenience. Walkthrough and strategy. This is the meat of this dungeon companion. The strategies that will take you through each of the world's dungeons and world boss encounters. As of patch 1.10. Or the reason you picked up this book. Expert strategy leading you through each of Azeroth's most nefarious dungeons is included in an easy to understand format. Oh, look at this beautiful picture of the dark portal. Is it from Outlands going into Azeroth? Looks to maybe being Karasat. This sure is bringing out a lot of memories. Ruins of Ankh-Kirash. Deep in the desert of Silithus lies an ancient and powerful race of beings known as the Kirashi. 1,000 years ago, the Night Elves and the Bronze Dragonflight combined their considerable power to seal the Kirashi behind the Scarab Wall, with the help of the children of some of the aspects. This is remembered as the War of the Shifting Sands. Recently it was discovered that some of the Kirashi were finding ways past the wall. Anachronos, the bronze dragon, helped the adventurers of Azeroth open the Scarab Wall to prevent more incursion. The mortal races have now banded together to confront the evil Kirashi on their own land. A champion has opened the gate, and the Horde and Alliance have driven the armies of the Kirashi back into the ruins in retreat. It now falls to you and your comrades to delve into the lair of the Kirashi and put an end to their masters once and for all. So this is placed in Silithus. Getting into the ruins of Ankh-Kirash. Make your way to Cenarion Hold in the center of Silithus and begin taking the road west out of town. The path quickly veers south and continues to do so for quite a distance. Eventually you reach a massive wall with a large open portal leading into Ankh-Kirash. Oh look, some of the neutral quests, and foes in the sand. In the ruins of Ankiraj are full of every manner of insect, pest, and alien thing known to the world of Azeroth. You will square off with mighty beasts and swarms of lesser pests that will test your party's resolve and cunning in a way you have never experienced. These are all the different enemies, but unfortunately it's just text and no pictures as of now. But here are some of the different bosses. Lodge of the Ruins. The ruins of Ankiraj are home to 6 bosses spread out across the entire zone. Each one takes more cunning and strategy than brute force to defeat, so be ready to change tactics from your typical raid encounter. We have Gorinax, General Rajax, Buru the Gorger, Moam, Ayamis the Hunter, Osirian the Unscarred. And next up we're to the Temple of Ankiraj. Dark whispers ride in the winds of the Silithus desert, an old guard stirs in his wretched lair, and the entire world shall soon be target of his wrath. After thousands of years of slumber, the old god Cthulhu has awakened and is quickly regenerating his power. Once he has reached full potential, nothing will be able to stop him. The dragons that so humbly sacrificed themselves so long ago to imprison Cthulhu are weakened or enslaved in the temple, so the charge of protecting the land falls to you. You must enter the Temple of Ankiraj, challenge Cthulhu's most wicked servants, and slay a god. The road will not be easy, and it's fraught with peril at every turn. You will turn back now, or face Cthulhu in his mighty lair and put an end to him once and for all. Getting to the Temple of Ankiraj. The journey to the Temple of Ankiraj is a short one. Simply fly to Silithus, landing in the Cenarian Hold. Take west road out of town. The roar quickly turns south, leading you directly to the gates of Ankiraj. There are a lot of enemies, mobs, but they are the masters of the temple, the bosses. We have the Prophet Skeram, Lord Kree, Princess Joy of Vam, Battle Guard Sajura, Fankris the Unshielding, This is actually such a hard boss, since you need a frost magic, ice magic to freeze the slime, and I think then you need a fire magic to actually kill it. The battle with Viscidus is one of the more creative encounters you will face in the world of Warcraft. The fight is almost completely based around ice attacks, so obviously the more mages you have, the better off you are. So you actually needed to freeze him to kill him. Unless you're a mage, that can be quite hard. Princess Huran, the Twin Emperors, Cthulhu. You have come to the very end. The eye of the old god is before you. His gaze can see far, and he knows why you have come. Luckily for you, he is not yet at full power. The time to strike is now. And then it's Cthulhu. When the eye of Cthulhu ceases to exist, the body of Cthulhu rises. This is an extremely long battle. Victory is determined by how fast the raid can react to the chaos around them. This is a really good boss fight, but still to this day, I'm quite scared by Cthulhu. It's so creepy in so many ways. Black Phantom Deeps. Those who desire to see a rare sight, beautiful locations, and fight dire enemies must prepare themselves for the swim into Black Phantom Deeps. These ruins are almost lost to time because of the Naga, Satyrs, and Twilight Hammer cultists who live there. The increase in power of the Twilight Hammer has been linked with the set of ruins. Whether you are Horde or Alliance, these people are your enemies and must be stopped. Look below to find out what can be done and how to destroy the blossoming evil in this former place of elven beauty. Getting to Black Phantom Deeps. The approach to this dungeon is a simple one, and people of appropriate level can make it to the instance without even breaking a sweat. Search along the Soram Strand in northwestern Ashenvale. Along the northern end of the beach is a massive set of ruins that are darker than the surrounding pillars littering the beach. Look inside this structure and drop into the water below. There are rocky corridors flowing inwards, and you won't have to stay wet for too long. Climb back up the other side of the passage and fight your way through elite Naga and Satyrs to reach the instance itself. Dank, cold and dangerous, traversing Black Phantom. Black Phantom ruins. Once you leave Soram Strand behind and drop into the waters of the outer Black Phantom region, you find that the enemies are no elite. There aren't any soft targets on the way toward the instance, but the levels of the creatures are quite low. The different places, the entry hallway, the ground cycle, the pool of Asgard. It's quite a big region. Twilight Cult is abound, Akuma's lair. Black Rock Depth. Black Rock Mountain stands on the border overlooking both Searing Gorge and Burning Steppes. Built within this massive mountain is a fortress of evil. Here, the enemy is safe to plot against others in the world. From here, they can launch attacks against both the Horde and the Alliance. It's time to take the fight to them. It's time to shut them that. It's time to show them that, even in their nearly impregnable fortress, they are not safe. Getting to Black Rock Depths. Black Rock Depths is located at the bottom of the Black Rock Mountain. Follow the chain across the lava and into the mountain until you can't go any further. Horde parties should fly to Kargath Badlands and make the trip across the Searing Gorge. Alliance groups should fly into the Thorium Point in Searing Gorge to enter through Searing Gorge or Morgan's Vigil in Burning Steps. There is a lot of quests for this dungeon. Here are some of the Horde quests. There are a lot of them, and the neutral quests. Oh wow, what commands they have. Here are the different NPCs you have to fight, and their levels. The depths await. Walking through the doors brings you an impressive sight. A large rock structure is suspended over a pool of lava by massive chains. Jump onto the northeast chain to take it to the central structure. If you're traveling in ghost form, now is a good time to pick up the Dark Iron Legacy quest from Franklorn Forthright. Descend through the tomb across another chain to a landing just above the lava. The grinding quarry is just ahead. The detention block, the ring of law and the shrine of Tharasia. The different bosses and enemies. The Dominical Shadowforge City and the Hall of Crafting. And the Dark Iron Highway. So these were back when the Dark Iron Dwarf were not an allied race, but actually a enemy faction. I can really miss that about World of Warcraft, that not all enemy factions were used allied faction or sub-race, but actually an enemy faction. I think you need to have good, long-going enemy factions. The East and West Garrisons, the Manufactory, the Grim Guzzler, and Shadowforge City. The path to the Emperor. Black Rock Spire. The mighty fortress carved within the fiery bowels of Black Rock Mountains was designed by the master dwarf mason Franklorn Forthright. Intended to be the symbol of the dark iron power, the fortress was held by the sinister dwarves for centuries. However, Nefarian, the cunning son of the dragon Deathwing, had other plans for the Great Keep. He and his draconic minions took control of the upper spire and made war on their dwarves' buildings, on the dwarves' holdings in the mountain's volcanic depths. Realizing that the dwarves were led by the mighty fire elemental Ragnaros, Nefarian vowed to crush his enemies and claim the whole Black Rock Mountain for himself. Getting into Black Rock Spire, and there's some information about Nefarian. Although Lord Victor Nefarius makes an appearance in Black Rock Spire, you don't get to fight him until you brave the depths of Blackwing Lair. Black Rock Mountain stands between Burning Step and Searing Gorge. Thus, there are two entrances to Black Rock Mountain. Horde parties should gather at Kargath in Badlands and make the trip across Searing Gorge. Alliance groups should fly into Thorium Point in Searing Gorge to enter through Searing Gorge or more kinds of vigil in Burning Steps. The different quests. It's really hard to turn the pages with my makeshift band-aids. And the enemy garrison. And the enemy leadership. The outer guards. The orcs of Blackrock Mountain have taken the upper portions from the dwarves. They have guards stationed at the entrance to Blackrock Spire to keep the dwarves from regaining what once was theirs. Just inside. Once you have more room, pull the patrol when it comes closer. The orcs in the lower rooms. A lot of information how to get inside the dungeon. How to go further down. It's more information about the actual path taking than about the bosses. A room full of eggs. As your party moves and fights in the rookery, keep members from stepping on the eggs as they will spawn rookery whelps. This isn't a problem when done in a controlled fashion, but having 4 whelps young on a healer tends to make things more difficult. This is the dungeon right where the Leroy Jenkins meme came from, right? Oh, the General Drakisath. When all the groups are clear, it's time to take on General Drakisath. The purpose of this entire journey. The general stands in his nook, flanked by his guards. Get ready for battle. The chromatic elites with Drakisath have the abilities Knockdown, Mortal Strike, and Strike, like a warrior's heroic strike. They're not going to be easy targets. Blackwing Lair. Blackwing Lair is the home of Onyxia's brother Nefarian and brood of the Black Dragonflight. The lair itself was created by the Dark Aryan dwarves and recently conquered by Nefarian and his dragonkin companions in his quest for power over Azeroth. From Blackwing Lair, Nefarian plots to do what his father, Deathwing, presumably failed to do. Create a chromatic dragonflight by capturing members of each of the 5 flights. Until very recently, Blackwing Lair was the hardest dungeon in Azeroth, but Ankiraj has assumed that mantle. Groups attempting Blackwing should have raiding experience and equipment from Molten Core and Onyxia. You must venture into the lair and fight your way to Nefarian's throne room, where he awaits your arrival. Some of the bosses, Razor Gore, the Untamed. Vaelestras, the Corrupt. A dragonkin pact. Suppression Room. Bloodlord Lash Slayer. I think this is the Blackwing Lair, the raid where I was wrong when I said earlier. So this is actually the raid where the Leroy Jenkins means happened. Such a long time ago, it's easy to forget. Goblin packs, Firemaw. Death Talon packs, Monster Elemental Shaper Crisix, Ebon Rock, Flame Core, Chromacus, and Nephorian. And so you have reached the final boss of Blackwing Lair. It seems as if Nefarian is both aware of your presence and patiently awaiting for you upon his throne. All you have to do is talk to him to begin the event. Take a look around the lair. It's a very cool place to be. Prepare yourself for what is probably the most enjoyable fight in the game so far. It's rather complicated. There is a lot to know. But even if it seems overwhelming at first, Nefarian is not harder than some of the previous bosses. Here's him in his second phase, when he needs the dragon form. A very, very cool encounter. And then you can take the last quest of Nefarian set, and you can hang it up outside Stormwind or Ogrimmar. This is a classic dungeon. The Dead Mines. For Alliance members who are passing their 20th level and are interested in learning about complex grouping strategies and the greater challenges of world dungeons, there's a place that provides all that and more: the Dead Mines. In the town of Moonbrook, in southwestern Westfall, there's a place of infamy where the Defias Brotherhood launches its foul plans to disrupt Stormwind's fine kingdom. Its leader is Edwin Van Cleef, a former man of esteem and respect, who has turned to crime and murder most foul. To make a greater name of yourself, or simply to end this terror, gather 4 companions and seek the Dead Mines. Getting into the Dead Mines. It doesn't take much work to reach the Dead Mines. Characters are often in Westfall at earlier levels, so it's likely that you already have a fair bit of the map filled out. Even if you don't, the roads take you everywhere you need to go. Sentinel Hill, which is near the inn and flight point, is on the eastern side of the area, just off the road. From there, either take the road south and west until you reach Moonbrook, or cut directly southwest from Sentinel Hill. For Horde characters wishing to venture into Westfall, take the Zeppelin to Gromgol in Stranglethorn Vale. If you don't know anyone with higher level of characters to help escort your group through the enemies of this area, ask a shaman to buff your group with water walking and run north along the coastal waters, outside the aggro range of the enemies of the shore. Once in Moonbrook, look for a somewhat small building on the southwestern side of town. There are Defias everywhere, but they're low level and no threat by the time a group is ready to take on this dungeon. Look inside the buildings in that corner of town and head into the depths. They're somewhat substantial, lead-in beasts before you reach the instance itself, so warm up your group by fighting the enemies you aggro on the way in. A lot of quests. Walking through the Dead Mines, where we can see an ogre in his full magnificent beauty. to the inner instance. The Goblin Foundry, Ironclad Cove, and the final boss, Edwin Van Cleef. Van Cleef is tough. Do not underestimate him or the damage he can withstand. This is a foe who can dish out and take it as well. Beyond that, there are 2 Defiance black cards at his side at all times. Later on the coming fight, 2 more will arrive, so there are considerably numbers to face here. Tyrmal. Deep in the forest of Ferolas lies the elven fortress of Tyrmal. The fortress is now used to host a wide range of residents, from ogres to ancient guardians. While it's rumors that some highborn still resides in the Othernium, the mystery surrounding Tyrmal draws adventurers from all over the world. What else lies within the decaying walls? Getting into Tyrmal. Horde parties can fly into Camp Moyashi and travel west along the road, while Alliance parties fly into Thalanar and travel west along the road. In the center of the high wilderness, a path branches from the north from the road. Take these to the gates of Tyrmal. Here is the quest, Dreadsteve Oxaroth. This is the long quest chain for the Warlock to get their own class mount, the Fellhorse. And you can also get these 3 quests, Libram of Focus, Libram of Protection, and Libram of Brevity, to gain reputation with the special faction that was removed later on. You needed this for the original Insane in the Membrane title and achievement, but this faction was removed from the game. Inhabitants of a shattered elven stronghold. The ancient city. Just look at the sheer size of this dungeon. It's actually huge. The East Wing. I remember getting into this game and getting lost within the depths of Tyrmal. The West Wing. Nomragan. Nomragan is the technologic and political capital of the Gnomish people, yet it's been abandoned by their finest and healthiest minds. While preparing a potent weapon against the Trogs, the Gnomes made a few mistakes and ended up poisoning the entire capital. Now only the damaged machines, diseased creatures and other horrors wander through the once learned halls. Yet the Gnomes are not content to sit by and ignore this problem. Many of them yearn to restore Nomragan to its glory and maintaining the level of technologic expertise. It's likely that you will be called upon to aid in this task. Steady yourself and seek Nomragan when the time is right. I think it's almost laughable that they did not restore Nomragan yet to this day. Nomragan is located in the northwestern section of Tamwadro. For Alliance folks, it's easy to reach the instance, and you may have seen the area around it quite some time ago if you leveled in Dunmaro as a young adventurer. Travel to the area of the map labeled as Nomragan and look for the deceased gnomes. An even greater indicator is the city's is close comes when you start to see green mist coming out of tunnels in the ground. Victims of the poisoned city. It's quite large as well. Into the gnomish capital. So sad that they actually didn't do anything for so long about this dungeon or region. I really wish they would have made some lore changes back in the day. Moradon. From the demon-infested Manorock Coven to the Kodo Graveyard, Desoless is a barren land. Yet it's the original home to all the centaurs of Kalimdor. Moradon is considered the holiest of grounds to these centaurs, and their fiercest warriors guards its secrets. The measures taken by the centaurs plus the appearance of demons in Moradon depths have piqued curiosities all over the continent, and there are many people willing to reward an adventurous group's foray into the depths, so long as the group doesn't return empty-handed. Getting to Moradon. Tucked away in the Valley of Spears in Desolate, Moradon has every type of centaurs guarding it. Scouts, wranglers, wind chasers, and even the spirits of fallen warriors. The Valley of Spears is west of the Kodo Graveyard and north of the Shadowprey village. The entrance to Moradon is in the deepest parts of the valley, marked by immense stone doors. Absolutely beautiful bosses and quests beyond the stone doors. I really wish in the future, when I get into more lore videos, that I will actually make about the classic dungeons, the lore behind them, and the final bosses. Look at these big crocodiles. The Molten Core. Over 300 years ago, the Emperor of the Dark Iron Dwarfs, Emperor Tharazian, sought to utterly destroy his enemies during the War of the Three Hammers. However, in his misguided attempt to find the means to do so, he accidentally summoned a being much more powerful and uncontrollable than even he could have foreseen, Ragnaros, the Fire Lord. Instead of summoning a potentially willing slave, the Emperor opened the gate to the elemental plane through worlds. Ragnaros erupted. This summoning was so devastating that it created the entire Azerothian regions that were now known as some of the most dangerous areas on the eastern continent. The Searing Gorge, the Burning Steppes, and of course, the Blackrock Mountains. Now, some 3 centuries later, Ragnaros slumbers at the core of the mountain, regaining his strength. His powerful elementals commands the Dark Iron Dwarfs with an iron fist, enslaving them to create a formidable enemy born of earth and fire. It's your duty to enter the bowels of Blackrock Mountain into the Molten Core itself and slay the agents of Ragnaros, and ultimately summon the Fire Lord, whom you must send back to the elemental plane from where he came. Getting to Molten Core. Getting to the Molten Core is easily accomplished, but a bit tricky. Alliance parties should gather at Thorium Point to begin the trek south, while Horde parties often gather at Kargath to begin their adventure. Blackrock Mountain is the destination, but you will need to reach the entrance to the Molten Core within the mountain. Masters of the Core. Lucifron, one of the bosses. Magmador. Gena. Gar. Baron Garon. Shastra. Golamak the Incinerator. Sulfur and Harbinger. Lords of the Core. Major Dormer Execute. And then lastly, Ragnaros the Fire Lord. So you have beaten every boss in the Molten Core, and now you stand in the lair of Ragnaros, ready to summon him forth, thinking you're hot stuff. Well, Ragnaros has news for you. He was hot stuff long before you were ever a twinkle in your mother's eye. This battle commands every resource of your raid group can muster, and then some. And the different abilities of Ragnaros. Onyxia, daughter of the Black Dragonflight's leader Deathwing, has made her lair deep in the swamps of Dustwall of March. Players looking to kill Onyxia must perform an elaborate series of quests to obtain the Drakefire amulet, the key to her lair. Only the most seasoned and prepared players should attempt to slay Onyxia. If you succeed, you will be rewarded with powerful items and hailed as a champion in your capital city. Drakefire amulet. Everyone who wants to fight Onyxia must perform a long series of quests to obtain the Drakefire amulet. Not only is it a decent fire resist necklace, it's the key to Onyxia's lair. You do not need to equip the amulet to enter her lair. It just has to be in your inventory. The quests for Alliance and Horde are different and equally challenging. Preparation. What kinds of players you need to kill Onyxia. And getting to Onyxia. She is the only boss of this raid. Here's the entrance and you get in to kill her. And I think it was either first in the Burning Crusade or in Breath of the Lich King they added so you could get the Onyxian mount. Different strategies and positionings. And her third phase. And then you can also get Onyxia's head, like you could get Nefarian's head, and hang up in the capital city. Ragefire Chasm. Orgrimmar is a shining beacon to the orcs and trolls of the Horde. At last there is a place where one can be safe and raise children. Is Orgrimmar really safe? Enemies have burrowed up from beneath the streets of Orgrimmar. They have avoided all the guards on the walls and landed in the center of this bastion of hope, who find who they are and show them the error of their ways. Getting to Ragefire Chasm. At level 13, Horde characters are still fairly scattered among the starting areas. Orcs and trolls are likely already have made the trek to Orgrimmar as they begin their lives in Durador. Tauren need to make the journey across the Barrens and through Durador. The characters take the Zeppelin on the lower platform from just outside Undercity. Alliance party should not attempt to get to Ragefire Chasm. It is deep in the heart of the Horde capital. Then we're on to the Razorfen Downs. A bastion of power for the Quillboar sits in Southern Barrens, or is it? Skeletons and spirits wander the passage alongside the Quillbore. Have they been infected with the plague? Have they learned necromancy? Either option is a danger to all of Kalimdor. Leave daylight behind and find what has happened to the Quillbore and stop it, if you can. Getting to Razorfen Downs. Western entrance to Razorfen Downs is northwest of the Great Cliff in Southern Barrens. It's directly across the road from Razorfen Crawl. The southern entrance can be found through the Grim Totem camps on Dark Cloud Pinnacle in the Thousand Needles. Into the tangle in Razorfen Downs. This is a rather spooky dungeon. I was really afraid of this as a kid. I did not do a lot of dungeons, to be completely honest. Razorfen Crawl. Little is known of this stronghold of the Quillbore. All who enter are killed. Those who escaped do so in such a state that they never make it far before death catches up with them. Why do the Quillbore fight so fervently? What is Sharkler Razorflank who so adamant about defending? Steel yourself and prepare for the hardships that awaits. Getting to Razorfen Crawl. Razorfen Crawl sits northwest the Great Cliff of 2000 Needles. Horde bodies can form at either Camp Tarajo or the Great Cliff before entering. Alliance bodies will have a more difficult time approaching the entrance, as it's deep within the Horde territory. Some of the Quillbores and hogs that they keep as pets. Scarlet Monastery. The Scarlet Monastery, home to the Scarlet Crusade, is a prime location for those players who have reached mid-30s in their level and are looking for a good challenge with spectacular rewards. The Scarlet Crusade was once dedicated to wiping the scourge from its foothold in northern Azeroth, but it has since become corrupted. Their focus has shifted from the scourge itself to sending all who oppose them into the Twisting Nether. Located northeast of the ruins of Lordaeron, the known center of undead power, the Scarlet Monastery is home to a fanatical group of soldiers, crusaders, monks, and practitioners of magic. It's so weird that they never followed up of the lore of the Twisting Nether in World of Warcraft. The Scarlet Monastery is a short trip northeast of the Undercity in Tearsfall Glades. For Alliance players, there are two options. First and easiest for players in the early 30s is to travel north from South Shore, skirting the edge of Undercity. Chambers of Attunement, Huntsman Cloister, Gallery of Treasures. I'm really glad to see that some of the Scarlet Crusade might be coming in the future. World of Warcraft in the World's Old Saga, the Cathedral, Crusader's Chapel. Here's the hidden undead boss in the locked room, and White Mane, one of the most attractive bosses from all time of World of Warcraft. Skullmans. The ancient ruins of Caer Daro reminds us about what once was there, an elven runestone that was sacred to the High Elves of Quel'Thalas. However, the runestone was later hacked up to pieces and used to create the Altar of Storms. Much later, the Battle family restored the fortress and through dealings with Kelth the South, transformed it into a school of necromancy, Skullomance. Now Skullomance is home to spirits and all descendants of the town who seek to gain some measure of vengeance from wrong committed against them in the past. It's up to Azeroth's adventurers to braid the depths of the fortress and restore peace to Karadharol. Getting to Skullomance. Skullomance is in the southern portion of the Western Plaguelands. Horde parties can gather at the Undercity and travel from Lighttop's Chapel or Taramil, while Alliance parties can group up at Stormwind and begin their treks from Mary Peak via the semi-secluded path, Chillwind Point or Lightsoap Chapel. Skullomance is such a horrible place, lore-wise, and it's actually really spooky to go through. I farmed in there quite a bit to get the recently added really great to get the tier 3 set for my priest, the Faithful Vestments. Look, this is a really large dungeon. Headmaster's study. I would like to read up a bit more of the Barrow family. Shadowfang Keep. Horde players approaching level 20 have likely discovered Silver Pine Forest and undertaken many quests revolving around a renegade archmage of the Kirin Tor named Argwal. His stronghold, known as Shadowfang Keep, is located in the south of the Scapular. The Archmage has populated the keep with Worgen and Warg, while the keep's once human guards and servants have been cursed to roam the grounds of spirits, maintaining it for a new master. Shadowfang Keeps overlooks the Great Sea in southern part of Silver Pine Forest, near Pyrewood Village, once a human outpost. It has been occupied by the host of Arugal, a blend of Worgen and human spirits. The entrance to the keep is at the end of the path that diverges from the entrance to Pyrewood Village. Then run above it. Alliance characters have little to fear from the residents of Pyrewood. In fact, there are a few vendors inside the village smithy. Members of the Horde need only to stay outside the village for a relatively safe trip inside the keep. Here are some of the original Worgen in the game. Cursed druids. The stockades. There's corruption in the heart of Stormwind. Those loyal to the people and the crown have tried to lock it away in the darkness beneath the city. But the evil festers and grows in such places. One of the city jails, simply called the Stockades, have been overrun by its prisoners. Primarily those loyal to the Fias. These evil folks have murdered some of the guards and chased out the others. They're in full control now, and it's all the wardens can do to keep them from spilling into the city. You and other good adventurers are needed to quell this rebellion and stop the Defias by any means possible. Getting into the stockade. Finding the stockade is easy. Travel to Stormwind and bind at an inn. Following that, gather a group and form a large building between the park and the Mage Quarter. There is certainly time to collect the local quests from the city, which as discussed later, but more distance quests should be gathered up ahead of time. There are additional stockade quests in the wetlands, Red Ridge Mountains and Duskwood. Going into the blue portal, at the bottom of the fortified building zones, your group into the formal instance. And that's where the fun begins. This is an alliance only. It would be way too hard to get in as a horde character into the main city. Stratholm. Standing on the northern border of the Eastern Plaguelands, little is known about Stratholm. Rumor says that some of the town's residents were able to survive the horrors that devastated the lands outside. How could people survive with the cauldrons contaminating the air around them? How much power does the Lich King have here? You only pass the shambling hordes of undead and into the stronghold to learn the truth. Getting to Stratholm. Little has survived the plague that retains some elements of sanity. The Scarlet Crusade will attack any non-crusader to protect themselves from the scourge. Only the small Argentine outposts of Light Soap Chapel stands. Here both Horde and Alliance can land and prepare for the trials ahead. With the plague attacking both sides, there isn't some time for petty bickering between factions. There are larger problems. Many fields give part 1 and part 2. A lot of different enemies. Some of the demons corrupting the place. Stratholm is a very large instance. It used to be a whole town, and I wish they actually would, just like with Nomragan, restore it. It's been too many years now. The Temple of Atal Hakar. This is one of my favorite dungeons. Deep in the swamp of sorrows, half submerged, stands the Temple of Atal Hakar. Long have the followers kept outsiders from entering. Now sages from distant lands feel a disturbance. Something is moving within the temple. What has changed in recent times? What or who is causing such a shift? The best defense is a good offense. Find what stirs within the ruins and put an end to any threat that is posed to your people. Getting into the Temple of Atal Hakar. In the center of Swamp of Sorrows is a large lake with the Temple of Atal Hakar showing. Swim across the south facing and climb the stairs to enter. The trip is rather quick from the nearly flight points. Horde parties can gather in Stonehand, while Alliance parties gather at Netherguard Keep. This is a really good place. It was supposed to be even larger, like a mega dungeon, but they scaled that down. I really love the vibe of the swamps. As I said, the swamp regions are my favorite in this game. The puzzle. This is still, even though they shortened it down, it is a large dungeon with several levels. Uldaman. Digging deep beneath the surface of the Badlands, the dwarves of Ironforge discovered ruins more ancient than anything previously unearthed. Shortly after the discovery, Drogs invaded the dig sites with terrible ruthlessness. Now Shadowforge dwarves are seeking the control of the ruins, what lies buried that has so many warnings so fervently. Descending into the darkness of the cave and the tunnels is the only way to claim the treasures for yourself. Getting to Uldaman. The primary entrance to Uldaman is just south of the Loch Modan border in Badlands. It's easiest to spot by the multitude of Shadowforged dwarves roaming around the dig site. Fight past these into the tunnels. Alliance groups should fly into Thelsamar in Lochmodan and head south into Badlands. Horde parties have a longer run if they've never been there before. Fly to Hammerfall in Arathi Islands, then head south through the wetlands and Lochmodan into Badlands. Here is where we first discover some of the Titan history and the Stone Watchers. The Wailing Caverns. Wailing Caverns. The Wailing Caverns are a rite of passage of the Horde adventurer that have been spending much of their time in the Barrens. For many, it's their first instant dungeon experience, especially if they have passed on Ragefire Chasm in Ogrimmar. There are many quests that have players through these dungeons, and it's a good way to learn more about the group dynamics and the roles of group members. Imprecision for pull areas. The storyline tied with this dungeon is one of a druid known as Narales, who sought to enter into the Emerald Dream in order to heal the land and return it to the lush environment it once was. Instead, things went wrong, and his dream became a nightmare, unleashed many creatures and dangers. Nearly all of the quests in this dungeon intertwine, and even when you think you have returned to the beginning and endured all of your time here, you'll find there is one last thing to do. Awaken Narales himself if you have slain all of the druids that have bound him in his sleep. Getting into Wailing Caverns. Reaching Wailing Caverns is a stroll in the park for most Horde adventurers. Trolls, orcs and torrents have likely already been through Crossroads and can fly there to form the party. Most undead will also have the flight point, but there might be someone who needs to run from Orgrimmar. Alliance groups wishing to enter Wailing Caverns have a much harder journey. There are several ways to get to Barrens, but the safest for parties at this level will be running from Astronar in Ashen Vale. Zul'Farrak. Zul'Farrak is a place of ancient worship, where the trolls of Tanaris fiercely guards the approach to the leaders and sacred beasts. Rumors have it that a hydra of immense power dwells there, and that their dead are brought back to life through ancient rituals. West across the vast sands of Tanaris, past Gadgetsan and any vestige of civilization, this fortress of trolls stands against both the Horde and the Alliance. Getting to Zul'Farrak. Getting the Tanaris flight point in Gadgetsan is the only issue here. Have everyone fly down to Gadgetsan and move out to the west from here. Zul'Farrak is in the far northwest of Tanaris, and the instant portal is practically out in the open. It's just inside a small set of ruins. Low-level elite trolls are found in the area nearby. They are good to hunt while preparing a Zul'Farrak run. Zul'Gurub. I used to love Zul'Gurub and Solomon. Ages ago, Zul'Gurub served as the capital for a powerful troll tribe called the Gurubashi. This would not last for long, however, as it was soon destroyed by civil war and corruption from within. Now, centuries later, Atalai priests and priestesses use once the great city for their evil deeds, attempting to summon the blood god Hakar the Soulflayer, who has vowed to consume the world whole. In response to the Atalai's treachery, the remaining troll tribe sent its 5 champions to seal away Hakar for all eternity. However, instead of a great victory over the blood god, they found utter defeat, as Hakar himself corrupted them, forcing them to make him even stronger. It now falls to you to enter the ruins of Sulkerup, slay the 5 aspects of Hakar, battle the blood god himself, and return peace to Stranglethorn Vale. Getting to Sulkerup is easy. Simply enter Stranglethorn Vale either via Booty Bay or Duskwood and head due east to Lake Nasfereti. A few elite trolls guard the entrance, but they can be handled by small groups, unlike the Brethren inside the instance. At the top of the stairs you will find an unlocked door guarding the instance portal. The Troll Empire was so cool back in the day. All the enemies of the ruins. The High Priestess of Sulkerup, High Priestess Yakalik, High Priestess of Venixis, High Priestess Marley, High Priestess Thekal, High Priest Arklik, Warlords of Sulkerup, Hakar the Soul Flayer, Blood Lord, Mandelgear. Hakar the Soul Flayer is such a good character, I love him. I was on my way to buy a display that you can find on its website with Hakar on. Jindu the Hexer, and optional bosses, Kasaranka, Kirlek, Hasara, Renataki, Ushole. Just look at this beautiful artwork that is so classic for World of Warcraft. I totally expected Suleiman to be in here, but first you got it in the Burning Crusade because it's from the coastlands, you know, connected to the Blood Elves. My bad. So here are the different world bosses. Azurgus. Ashara was once a beautiful bastion of the High Elves. Their magic was nearly unsurpassed in Azeroth before their fall. No Naga and Blood Elves have returned to scour the ruins. Are they trying to reclaim a lost heritage? What lies hidden in Ashara? To find out, you must deal with more than merely Naga. One of the blue dragonflight has made his duty to protect the magic of Ashara. Ashurgus won't allow anyone to possess these items of power. Defeating him will be difficult, but the rewards will be wondrous. Azurgus wanders throughout southeast Ashara. Horde raids should fly into Valormok and head into their gathering point. Alliance raids will have to farther walk, as they need to fly to Talrandis Point and run from the entrance of Ashara. Dragons of Nightmare. Emeris, Lethon, Thyrar, and Isandre, once trusted servants of Ysera in the Emerald Dream, have been corrupted by the nightmare that spread throughout the dream. In their madness they left the dream and entered Azeroth through portals scattered throughout the land, set on bringing destruction to the mortal realm. Ysera, the great dreaming dragon aspect, rules over the enigmatic green dragonflight. Her domain is the fantastic mystical realm of the Emerald Dream, and it's said from there she guides the Evalantuser in the path of the world itself. She is the protector of nature and imagination, and is the charge of her flight to guard all of the great trees across the world, which only the druids use to enter the dream itself. So the different locations for the bosses are in Ashen Vale, Bow Shadow, Duskwood, the Twilight Grove, Ferolus, Dreambow, and Hinterlands, Seradane. blasted lands will never be safe again. The wildlife has been forever tainted by the demonic energies issuing froth from the dark portal. Demons of incredible power have made the tainted scar their home. A demon lord made himself known. Lord Kazak resides with his minions in the tainted scar. What evils is he plotting from the inside of the dying valley? A preemptive strike will keep his plots from coming to fruition. Getting to Lord Kazak. Lord Kazak resides deep in the tainted scar of the blasted lands. Alliance raids should fly into the Netherguard Keep, while Horde raids should have come from Stoneheart in the Swamp of Sorrows. I remember from this Lord Kazak, you could not be more, was it than 40 people? If more than 40 people attacked him, he would rage and kill everyone. He would get overpowered. Item sets. The universally desired item sets are what drive adventurers into the deepest pits of Azeroth, the most incredible challenges, often the most amazing rewards. This section details what each set piece is, what bonuses their sets offer, and what gives you an idea about what they will look like on your character, provided it's a set that you can use. Druid, Hunter, Mage, Paladin, Priest, Rogue, Shaman, Warlock, Warrior. And it shows on which different races can be that class. Arcanist Regalia, Ogres Regalia, Avengers Battle Gear of Eternal Justice, Battle Gear of Heroism, Battle Gear of Might, Battle Gear of Unyielding Strength, Battle Gear of Valor. Battle Gear of Wrath, Beastmaster Armor, Beastalker Armor, Bloodfang Armor, Bloodmaul Regalia, Adversary Scarab. There's so many of these. All of the different sets, but they were not so special during this time, honestly. A lot that were mixed together. Some thanks. I have to be quick here on the end because my battery is dying once again, unfortunately. I'm having some issues with my camera. Bradygames has 2 exclusive World of Warcraft binders, one for the Horde, one for the Alliance, and Penny Arcade binder. I never seen this before, so I hope to find this online. This will be very cool for the TCG cards. Here's the World of Warcraft Atlas I made my first ASMR video with. Collective bookmarks included. I haven't seen those before. And the exclusive world map. Here we can see that the book is falling apart. And here is the box set. I made a video a while back ago, a couple of weeks ago. Really cool. Sorry, it was a bit rushed at the end, but my camera is dying now. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was very fun for me. Hope to see you in my next video.